Welcome to the 54th episode of the Mayor's Mixtape. I'm Haley Sue Robinson, Director of Public Affairs for the City of Pueblo.
Heather Graham, City of Pueblo Mayor.
Good morning. Andrew Hayes, Director of Public Works.
Awesome. Thanks for joining us this morning, Andrew. I want to remind our listener that you can find us on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, Buzzsprout, wherever you get your podcasts. You can also watch us on local channel 17. So there are lots of opportunities to find this podcast. And don't forget, if you have questions or a topic suggestion, you can email us at mayor@pueblo.us. So Mayor Graham, you wanted to talk about Advance Pueblo this morning. So we invited Andrew Hayes to join us for that. Let's first start with an introduction about who or what is Advance Pueblo.
Go ahead.
Sure. So Advance Pueblo is essentially an extension of the mayor's office. It is kind of the brand image behind all of the economic development efforts that the city is doing. Mm-hmm. So essentially, anybody looking for economic development related support, project support, would come to the mayor's office. But this Advance Pueblo brand is kind of what is the group of all of the various coordination and facilitation services that are being provided. So. But we work very, very closely with other partners outside the city, like Urban Renewal, Black Hills, Excel, Waterworks, all of the various utility departments, Southern Colorado Southern Colorado Building Department, and other stakeholders in the development process to help projects move forward. So anything involving private development or public incentives for projects, those kinds of activities would be centered here in the Advance Pueblo office.
Okay. And so it's Advance Pueblo isn't a person. There's not a particular set of folks that it's just like stationed to. It's pretty much an offshoot of the City of Pueblo, correct? And
it's very much a collaborative effort, I think, between all those partners we've talked about. And again, trying to find ways to make projects and development happen more smoothly here.
Yeah. Okay. That's great. So last week on the Advance Pueblo social media pages, there was a statement about commitments for economic development, and those include helping existing employers grow and add good-paying jobs, supporting new businesses who are looking to invest in Pueblo, coordinating with development stakeholder groups so projects move forward more smoothly and predictably. So I wanted to know, what does that exactly look like, or what can it look like?
It could look like a already existing business expanding. It could look like we just changed the criteria ordinance to include economic leakage and economic catalyst, so large sales tax drivers. So the city incentivizing maybe a retail store to come into the community who's a large sales tax driver, or incentivizing a business that Puebloans leave the community and go spend their money elsewhere because we don't have that certain business or that certain resource within our community.
Okay.
You hit on a point, too, about not only new businesses coming, but also retention of existing businesses. And so that's an important element of any economic development strategy for any city, but specifically here in Pueblo. So there are existing businesses seeking to not only expand, but grow not only their outputs, but bring additional jobs in to those existing businesses. So that's an element we don't want to overlook either.
Yeah, so maintaining our good relationship with local businesses who have been established for maybe a couple of years or even for decades, and ensuring that they stay here in Pueblo and don't look elsewhere for another place to locate to.
Yep, we love it when they call Pueblo home.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Mayor, I thought I would bring up the fact that you held a press conference about a week and a half ago regarding the city's relationship with Pueblo Economic Development Corporation, or PEDCO, and the termination of their contract. I think one thing that has been asked is we did learn that day that the city received a lawsuit from PEDCO, and so I was wondering, was that press conference in response to the lawsuit, or why did you hold that press conference?
So the press conference was in response to PEDCO withdrawing their settlement agreement.
Okay.
The settlement agreement had been agreed to. It was on city council's agenda. It had to be pulled the following Monday night, and so I thought it was an opportunity. The community has been asking for a comment on the breakdown of the relationship with the city and Petco, and I thought it was time that people knew why. In fact, I didn't even know that we were being sued until about 10 p.m. that night, and I actually was not served until the next morning around 10 o'clock, so was not in response to the lawsuit the city was served.
It was pre-planned.
It was pre-planned.
Got it.
Yep.
Okay. Also, there are more questions, shifting gears back to Advance Pueblo. There are questions about the types of tools or incentives that the city can use working in economic development to attract businesses and to promote growth. A couple of those things include maybe waiving tap fees or using TIF or half-cent sales tax incentives. What else is included, or what other mechanisms does the city use or can use for economic development?
You can use land acquisition.
Yeah, there's a whole range of things.
Yeah, infrastructure.
Yeah. I mean, the biggest one that wasn't in that list was obviously the voter-approved half-cent sales tax fund that supports economic development. That's a very unique tool that the city of Pueblo is one of the only cities in the state
said that?
I don't think
I
you
said it.
Oh, I don't,
It's okay.
I was going to say.
I'm not offended.
That's a huge
I'm
one.
good.
You
I'm
get
good
to
here.
say it.
It's okay.
But that's a huge one. Obviously, that's the primary one that folks think of, I think, when they think of city help. But there are a lot of other things: the acquisition of land, installation of infrastructure, the collaboration and partnership we have with PURA in offering tax increment funding incentives. All those are huge tools that can help bring a project, large or small, to the city. Coordination with again, building permits, facilitation of discussions with utilities, anything that helps a project move forward is certainly on the table for discussion with development partners. So those are all services and things that the city can bring and tools that we can bring to bear to get these projects moving forward.
Sure. So when you talk about like land acquisition, is that something that we used with like the Converges project? Is that an example of land acquisition, or what can that look like for incentives for developers or?
Sure. One place it's come to pass is in the establishment of industrial parks, right?
Got it.
Particularly where you're trying to establish job creation that is in a manufacturing sector that requires space in a specific zoned area for that. Those industrial parks are obviously set up with infrastructure to be able to support those kinds of development activities. So it might look like that. We have the St. Charles Industrial Park down in the south end of town near Greenhorn Drive, Lime Road area. We have the Airport Industrial Park as well. So there's properties and parcels out there that are available for development and redevelopment. And so those areas are obviously set up in a way in partnership with the city to, again, incentivize those types of industrial developments. So.
And then, Andrew, you mentioned earlier that we have good relationships with our utility partners. So what do those conversations look like for new businesses coming in, and how does the city facilitate those relationships or conversations? Yeah,
every business has its own unique needs. But if there's a business, for instance, that requires large amounts of power, for instance, has large power demands, we certainly set them up with Black Hills to have conversations about their Black Hills' ability to serve those needs. There may be areas of town that are better suited than others for a given type of project, but the same thing could apply to water or sewer or gas as well. So frequently, it's us. Aligning the developers and the utilities for conversations about specific needs for those projects. We're always exploring ways to, help advocate for better policies that help development here in Pueblo also among the utilities and from a regulatory perspective. So there's a number of ways the city can engage on those fronts and try to help these folks out.
Sure. So, Mayor, why was Advance Pueblo started, and where did this concept come from? Why did you see there was a need for it?
Yeah, so when I first became the mayor, one of the things that I saw just from being on city council and being a business owner is the lack of communication. Whether that's picking up a routing sheet and routing your own business, which you used to have to do in the city, or looking for some kind of incentive, coming and talking to the city and the departments, then working with regional building, working with the utilities. There was a lack of urgency and communication, and if that was happening for a small business, I couldn't imagine what that looked like on a larger scale. And so one of the things I did when I came in is I wanted to create a Department of Economic Development within the city, like a concierge service for developers or business owners to be able to call somebody up, figure out, where do you submit your plans? What does that look like? And then it evolved over the last couple of years that it was much larger than just bringing a department into the city. You needed to be able to have relationships within our own city departments like Public Works and Planning, Wastewater, Stormwater, because all of those things fit into the entire plan for a developer. But you also need to be able to have communications with the utilities, Black Hills, Excel, Pueblo Water, and I didn't feel like that communication was happening. So about a year ago, we started a weekly meeting with the Urban Renewal Authority, PEDCO, the county, and the city, where we would meet every Tuesday and talk about any businesses or any big projects that were coming to the community and kind of put our heads together and close the gaps on where these people weren't getting the answers that they needed. Things were taking too long. And that's kind of where Advance Pueblo came from. It was really an internal focus on how could we better serve the community, developers and businesses coming in internally. At the time, we still had PEDCO, who was doing economic development for the city and trying to attract businesses from outside. But once they get here, once they pick Pueblo, it's really an internal function of the city to be able to get their plans processed, cut the red tape, and make sure these people can open their businesses. So it's several different pieces that we don't believe we're ever collaborating together. And that's really why we started this internal function of Advance Pueblo.
It really breaks down the silos, I think. It helps communication between those agencies and departments. It's a new dynamic. So anybody who has experienced challenges in the past should come back and re-examine what's going on now. There's certainly a lot more positive handoff between departments. There's I guess better coordination on those fronts to make sure that folks are getting what they need to get their projects moving.
Mm-hmm. So it kind of sounds like you took the model that you had for local small businesses or existing businesses with that group that you established that included some of our internal partners like police, fire, code enforcement, sales tax, and then it included Southern Colorado Regional or Southern
Health
Colorado
Department.
Building Department, the Pueblo Department of Public Health and Environment. Sometimes it includes parole or the sheriff's office, and you kind of made that same sort of model, but for attracting or retaining businesses.
I think that you should have one point of communication, especially for people who don't live in our community, who don't know who we are. Every community is different, and so to continuously expect someone to pick up the phone and call around to the building department, the city, the county, looking for cash incentives, looking for water fees to be waived through wastewater. I think that that's also part of why people wanted a strong mayor. They wanted to have one point of contact for the government, right? So it makes sense that that is happening out of this office, that you call here when you want to bring your business here or you want to expand your business. And our job is really to facilitate what that looks like and to pass you to which departments you need to go to. Make that connection with the building department. We've had a pretty interesting year with the building department. We have a great relationship with the building department. And so it's to the benefit of the community for the city to be able to call on our partners and say, hey, we have this big business coming to town, or we have this small business who's interested in expanding. How do we make this happen, and how do we get it done quickly?
So that's kind of where the slogan or idea of Pueblo is open for business has come from.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Not that it wasn't before, but I mean, we spend a lot of time every week focused, right? We have our Tuesday meeting. We meet every other Friday with our committee. You spend a lot of your time just during the day, even just being the director of public works, facilitating the plans and economic development issues within our community. Before I was the mayor, I don't think that happened. Or the first year I was the mayor, I don't think that happened. And so I think that it really is making a difference when it comes to bringing businesses to our community.
Yeah, it's breaking down those silos, and the facilitation that didn't exist before is there now. The communication between departments makes a huge difference, and projects aren't getting lost in the white space between things. That's been the biggest, I guess, consistent concern that's been raised by developers, both in town and outside. But folks from out of town do see a lot of opportunity here that they don't see in other communities. Pueblo doesn't currently have impact fees, which is a benefit to developers who don't have to pay those fees up front. It's a challenge sometimes on other fronts.
What's an impact fee?
Sure. So an impact fee might be, good question. An impact fee might be, some communities have impact fees related to traffic. Okay. So every development would pay in on some basis for collective improvements to the transportation network within the city. We don't have that here. Generally speaking, we work with developers of individual projects to bring up the upgrades that need to happen to support their project. Impact fees provide another source of funds that allow for facilitation of things in some ways. But there are also a lot of developers that come in from like Denver or Springs or out of town that are surprised by the fact that we don't have that. So that's a cost savings in many cases to them. So there's a lot of opportunities, I guess, where Pueblo shines in the state. And though there have been challenges in the past, I think with this coordination and communication, I think we've come a long, long way in this past year.
I think the other thing that I've heard a lot from folks who are not from Pueblo or move here or bring their business here is how many people are surprised the fact that our residents are willing to tax themselves for the prospect of economic development. That taxing yourself to begin with, not super popular, right? But then taxing yourself with our half-cent sales tax, and for as long as we have, there's a lot of people who are very surprised by the fact that voters continually approve it, and then we have the opportunity to use that as an incentive. And that's one thing that I think is also really unique to Pueblo, that other communities don't have and we have to our benefit.
It's a huge benefit here. I think it speaks volumes to, I guess, people's understanding of the importance of this in making their communities better, right? That's the whole goal, is to make Pueblo more livable, a better community for quality of life, for attracting other business, all these different things. And that incentive supports that. If people are willing to see that value, that just speaks volumes again for the importance of this one tool. But there are many here in Pueblo. So
right. And one thing that you touched on that I think we should just reiterate, though, too, is, you mentioned the coordination that we have with Advance Pueblo and the groups there, but I spoke about it a little bit earlier, that streamlined process of permitting and the routing sheet. Talk a little bit about how that process kind of came to be for you in this office, Mayor, or why you felt like it was important. I heard you speak about it as a business owner, but what kind of feedback did you receive from some of our partners, and how have we made it better in the last couple of years? What does that look like?
Well, I mean, so when I started my business, it was like 10 years ago. So you literally used to go and pick up the sheet of paper, and then you, the business owner or your contractor, would go to the building department, the fire department, planning, and you would have to get individual sign-offs.
You would like physically go to these places? Okay.
And you would have to get the sign-offs for whatever you're remodeling. You know, you're getting a liquor license. You have to have all of this additional stuff. Now it's routed on the backside through OpenGov, so that makes a difference. That was done before my time, but a lot of the time it gets stuck because it's not people doing it, right? Like, it's a computer system. Everybody at the city is very busy. Our partners are very busy, and so maybe you don't see that somebody is ready for a sign-off. And if the system isn't telling you, hey, go in and look at this particular license, they need to be signed off, they could be stuck for like 3 weeks, right? And that's frustrating.
So they're just sitting in limbo and not knowing.
Could be that a department who normally doesn't have to sign off on this type of thing or has no relevance, you know, it just sits there. And so what usually happens is one of us get the call, and then we pick up the phone and call the department and like, hey, you need to sign off on this. Like, these people have been waiting for 10 days or whatever. And so when we know that a business is going to apply for whatever kind of a permit that they need, we're kind of watching that on the outside to make sure that the process gets through quicker from start to finish. Because we know how important it is and how costly it is, especially for big developers that are coming into the community.
Well, and then that helps the business license renewal process for current businesses, right?
Yeah, that's all done, all on the back end. Now. Yeah,
there's been a lot of deliberate effort, I think, automating some of these processes, right, and getting them into an electronic system. It certainly helps for their efficiency. Mayor's right. Obviously, as we're creating those workflows and steps, we're tweaking those all the time too to try to make sure that the process is continually improved. But the fact that we've got those systems in place lets us be able to do that and keep moving forward.
Great. I think another question that folks have is, who has final approval of economic development? Is it here in the mayor's office? Who is part of that process of approving growth within city limits?
City council.
Okay.
City council is the end all be all. So they have to, if there's cash involved, right?
Sure.
So if you just have, for example, we have a Longhorn Steakhouse coming to the north side of town. So they came to visit us about 6 months ago. They were having some issues, needed some incentives, so we were able to direct them to the Urban Renewal Authority. Urban Renewal Authority, it's in a TIF district. They were able to help them with some of their dirt and infrastructure.
Yeah, they had some site issues they were working on.
Needs. So that was a facilitation through this office of Contact Pura. Maybe there's some help there, right? It really didn't meet half-cent sales tax at the time. So that is just going to be up and running. No city money is exchanged, right? So city council doesn't approve anything on that. But if you are actually coming to the city for cash incentives, for waiving of tap fees, city council has to approve all of that.
Okay. So it's not just here in the mayor's office, or it's not just with Advance Pueblo. Ultimately, city council has the approval for.
Yep. So we like to get the packages ready, and then we take them with a bow to city council saying yay or nay. So we're going to have our first incentive package on April 6th. We'll be taking to city council an executive session to potentially ask for property. There's some property involved in this one, and see what they say.
Great.
Yeah, ultimately those approvals, again, council is the arbiter of the public funds, right? They allocate and appropriate funds by our charter. And so if it's public money, city money, council's got the ultimate authority on that. But
or fees, tap fees.
And even development agreements, right? I mean, it still has to be approved by an ordinance. And so it's not just one person or one even small committee making a decision here. Mayor did mention our committee earlier that reviews these applications, and it's made up of a cross section of staff and city council members and partner agency heads as well. And so we're all reviewing those applications to kind of determine do these applications align with city ordinances? Are they aligned with city objectives? And then based on those reviews and the information provided by the applicants, that committee makes a recommendation either for or not for approval. But everything is going to go to city council for some direction. So.
Well, and I think another piece of that too is like our planning and zoning, right? So when businesses come in, it also goes before planning and zoning, which then ultimately comes before city council
and
too.
We have a city councilor on planning and zoning, so he gets to see it.
So there's
a little bit before everybody else.
Multiple layers of review before this comes forward is basically what I'm hearing.
Yeah, these are very public processes.
Yeah.
There's not somebody in a cubicle somewhere making a decision for sure.
Okay.
And, even the ones that we don't recommend to city council, they will be fully briefed on, hey, this doesn't meet the half-cent sales tax. They're still far out in their application process. We're waiting on more information. So city council will be briefed on every single project. Just in case something comes along the way where, maybe the city receives a grant or something that could help one of these businesses. We want to make sure that city council is aware of everybody looking for incentives or wanting to grow their business in the community.
And ready when the timing makes sense.
And I think it also plays to what the need is in the community. I know that we have some applications this week to review that have to do with infrastructure that is going to help with affordable housing developments. And so although it's not a direct tie to a primary job, you're putting heads in beds, right? And you're growing the community. So will city council agree that is some kind of economic development? I don't know. We'll see. But that typically hadn't been done previously, looking at different types of what economic development is in total. Maybe, housing, maybe infrastructure needs. That was never contemplated before. And maybe it's not cash, maybe it's tap waivers. All of that we think is economic development. So all of that goes to city council as economic development.
And the applications also coming in now get, I guess, a more thorough look too about, are they a good fit for this tool or this tool or this tool or all of them?
Sure.
And so it's a more holistic look.
And some of these, developers, housing developers, they don't know all of the different types of incentives that the city has to offer. So it really gives us an opportunity to then sit down and have a one-on-one conversation with whoever it is trying to do something good for the community.
Yeah, so it could be a local contractor that maybe has never come before the city to ask for those things, or it could be a brand new developer coming to Pueblo and not familiar with what we have to offer. Got it. So you've alluded a little bit to what citizens can expect to see as far as economic development in the future, but are there any specific projects that you maybe want to talk about? You mentioned like Longhorn, potential housing, anything else that maybe citizens can look forward to or be excited about, or things that you are hoping to bring in the future that maybe aren't quite ready?
So
that was a loaded question.
Sure.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. There's some blighted properties that I will say in the community that are getting some attention from outside of the community that there might be some kinds of announcement soon. So that's exciting for the community.
So council also, has approved funds in the past for demolition of the dog track, for instance. That is a longstanding kind of eyesore on the community that the city's approval of funds for that is one step, but we're working with that developer to try to correct. And so that developer is working with the city right now to finalize an agreement to get that taken down. Okay. And if that opens up the door to new opportunities there at the south end, that'd be a great opportunity, I think, for folks on the south side looking for some new commercial, retail, restaurant type development as well. Mm-hmm. There's
new development on Boulevard.
Yep.
Across from the jail.
Yep, that's right.
We have a meeting today about that.
We've got, again, a range of different things from residential, commercial, industrial, primary job creation, sales tax generation. I mean, there's a whole range of economic development activities that need to happen. Yeah, tourism too.
Museum's about to.
Good grief, that's going to be amazing.
Yeah, open soon. So
yeah, we have Da Vinci Museum and we have Boathouse opening. Yep. We have a lot
Riverwalk is going to be very, very busy this summer.
Yeah, very exciting.
A potential hotel.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
So there's a lot to look forward to, is what you're telling me.
There's a lot of projects that are in the queue. So
okay.
We're working as quickly as they're submitting, and we're excited.
Okay, great. Anything else that you think the listener needs to know? I know I asked you a lot of questions, but I might have left something out.
I think really, I asked Andrew to come on today because there's like this misconception of what Advance Pueblo means. Advance Pueblo existed before Petco. Advance Pueblo will exist after Petco. Hopefully it will exist after I'm gone. It is an internal function of the city, right? It's collaboration. You can call it whatever you want to call it, but it's us working together to make sure development isn't left behind. And right now, because we don't have an economic development partner, we're also taking on all of the inquiries, all of the questions being asked within the community. So we're really doing the best job that we can, right? Like it's the mayor, it's Andrew, who's also the director of public works. I have one part-time employee who is here 3 days a week helping to do marketing and advertising for the city, because obviously that wasn't going on previously. And so I understand that there's, some criticism out there about what I've done with Petco and what we're doing in the city when it comes to economic development. But I assure the community that the future is bright for Pueblo. And whatever happens with economic development and whether we are successful in finding a new partner to bring to our community, we just want the citizens to know that we're not letting the ball drop, that we're on top of it, and we take this very seriously.
Yeah, the mayor's leadership, let's call it, has really kind of steered the ship in the right direction here, because we talked again about lack of coordination between departments, between agencies. I think we all know what the objective is now. We all know where we're headed. And within the city, there are so many opportunities just within the city departments to be able to help facilitate development. Layering that on with extra coordination from those outside entities as well. If we're all pointing in the same direction, we're going to achieve the objectives of making Pueblo the best place in the state to live. So that's where we're headed.
Who can argue with that?
A lot of people.
Okay.
But we're ready to argue back because the work that we're doing is important. And if you drive around the community, it doesn't go unnoticed. Whether that was a lot of the build that you see going on right now, that wasn't just my administration, right? It's previous administration. It's things finally getting done. But today we have a gentleman coming in who did the apartment complex on the boulevard, right? So he's done with phase 1. He's already ready to do phase 2. So we're looking at what that looks like in order to help him. He's also looking at bringing some businesses over in that area. And so you can see that he is an outside developer bringing his money into our community to make it a better place. And he's obviously coming back here to do phase 2 for a reason, right? So those are the kind of partners we want, and that's what we kind of want to see moving forward.
Great. Okay. I think that was a good addition. I'm glad I asked if there was anything else
I'm
wanted
glad you asked too.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we have a couple of upcoming events. We have a wastewater community meeting on Wednesday, April 8th at 5:30 at the YMCA, which is located at 3200 East Spalding Avenue. And you can learn about the sewer system rehabilitation program on the west side of Pueblo. We also have a District 1 Town Hall meeting on Friday, April 10th at noon with District 1 Councilor Diane Dante and at-large City Councilor Selena Ruiz Gomez. That town hall will be at the Barkman Library in the Minnequaw Works Credit Union Community Room. Andrew, just want to say thank you for coming on the podcast this morning, and thanks for helping answer the questions about Advance Pueblo. Who, what, where is Advance Pueblo? And all things
why.
related. And why. Yes, and why. Absolutely. And I'd like to remind our listener that you can find our podcast on YouTube, Spotify, Buzzsprout, wherever you get your podcasts. You can also find us on local channel 17. And maybe you have follow-up questions about Advance Pueblo. You can email us, mayor@pueblo.us, and we will see you next week.